Hello. This is Antya from Byte Shuffle. Thank you for always watching our videos. This time, I put together an overview of how to approach the Boros Initiative matchup when playing Doomsday, including strategy and sideboarding considerations. There's also a link to the pile breakdown video in the description, so feel free to check it out. Here is the deck list we will be using this time. I'll keep since it looks like I can smooth out my hand with draw spells. I'll dig for Doomsday. I didn't find it, so I'll shuffle. I'll dig for Doomsday. I put back 2 dual lands. I search for Doomsday. To play around Chalice of the Void, I'll play Lion's Eye Diamond preemptively. I'm going all in. From here, I'll generate more mana for the combo. Since I have blue mana and a pile opener secured, I'll use Brainstorm to go in for a decisive strike. Since I'm low on life, I'll include a draw spell and Edge of Autumn in the pile. I built my pile in the order of Thassa's Oracle, Edge of Autumn, Ponder, Consider, Brainstorm. I'll activate Lion's Eye Diamond in response to the pile opener. I'll draw into the pile using the pile opener. I stacked the deck in the order of Edge of Autumn, Ponder. The Surveil effect sends it to the graveyard. I'll win with Thassa's Oracle. Before sideboarding, I'd like to review the list we used. First, the conclusion. I will explain it step by step. Here's the sideboard I actually used during the match. Since the opponent might have Pyroblast, there are situations where I'd want to include protection in the pile depending on the board state. So I think cutting Cavern of Souls was a mistake. I feel it would have been better to cut Daze instead. Now, let's get into the main topic. These are the key cards in Boros Initiative that impact the Doomsday matchup. First, to increase the overall speed of the deck, I'll add Lotus Petal. To respond to my opponent's actions, I'll bring in Force of Negation. In exchange, I'll reduce the number of days, as it's one of the lower impact counterspells in this matchup. Additionally, I'll cut discard spells, as they tend to be weak against stompy decks. Next, let's talk about Chalice of the Void. The opponent almost always sets it to lock out 1-mana spells. By using Lotus Petal and Cabal Ritual, I can get around Chalice of the Void, so I'll only counter it when it's truly game-breaking. Next, let's talk about Disruptor Flute. If it's played before Doomsday resolves, I can respond with a counterspell. If it's played after Doomsday resolves, I can deal with it using Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. If it resolves and hits the battlefield, I'll work around it by generating mana through ritual effects. Next, to deal with Archon of Emeria and Magus of the Moon, I'll add basic lands that are less affected by these cards. In exchange, I'll cut some dual lands. Next, let's talk about Pyroblast. I'll cut Consider, as it's vulnerable to both Pyroblast and Chalice of the Void. Since I'll be focusing on executing the combo quickly, I'll cut Night's Whisper as there won't be a good opportunity to cast it. Next, regarding Mindbreak Trap, if I don't cast 3 or more spells, it won't be cast for free. Starting from ritual-based mana acceleration. As long as I stop at casting Doomsday, I can ignore its effect. When casting 3 or more spells, it might be a good idea to evaluate your hand carefully first. I'll mulligan since I'm looking for a faster hand. I'll put Dark Ritual and Cabal Ritual on the bottom. Chalice of the Void is set to x=1. I'll play Lotus Petal preemptively to play around Chalice of the Void. The Surveil effect sends it to the graveyard. And this is where the adventure ends. I'll keep since it looks like I can go all in early. I'll play Lotus Petal ahead of time to play around Chalice of the Void. Since I can cast Doomsday on the next turn, I'll ignore Chalice of the Void set to x=1. The Surveil effect leaves it on top of the library. I'm going all in. From here. Since Chalice of the Void is locking out 1-mana spells, I don't need to worry about Pyroblast in this situation. I'll fill the pile with Thassa's Oracle and Cyclers. I don't think my opponent is running Wasteland, but just in case, I included a land in the pile. Since Archon of Emeria makes non-basic lands enter tapped, I chose an island as the land in the pile. I built my pile in the order of Island Thassa's Oracle, Edge of Autumn, Street Wraith. I probably could have ignored it here, but I went ahead and countered it. I'll use the pile opener to start drawing into the pile. I'll win with Thassa's Oracle. Lastly, I have an announcement. I'm posting the concepts behind the images used in my videos, as well as small flavor-inspired stories, in the YouTube community section. Additionally, I'm selling merch for the channel through the link in the description. If you're interested, be sure to check it out. Thank you for watching up to this point. I apologize for the many play mistakes. I hope to improve at MTG together with everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving it a thumbs up. See you next time. This is Antya.